Hi, it's Madeline, and today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up and June TBR. So in the month of May, I managed to read a total of 9 books, and although 2 of those books were graphic novels, I think that it's still a pretty decent amount of books. But anyways, let me show you the books that I read this month. So this month I started off with Firefight by Brandon Sanderson, and this book is the second book in the Reckoners trilogy, the first book being Steelheart. So in the first book, Steelheart, follows a guy named David, and where David lives, there are these people called epics, and these epics have superpowers, and they are the tyrants. They rule the cities and they cause death and destruction. And when David was about 10, I believe, his father was killed by an epic, so he wants to get his revenge, so he joins a team of non-epics, to say, so normal people like us, who are opposed to epics having all the power and everything. So he joins up with them and he tries to convince them to kill Steelheart, who currently rules the city that he lives in, so that he can get his revenge. These books are filled with a ton of action. I think they'd be great movies, so I would recommend it. This book, Firefight, was a strong sequel, and I gave it 80%, so I did enjoy it. The second book that I read this month was The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness. This book is the second book in a sci-fi trilogy called the Chaos Walking trilogy, and the first book is The Knife of Never Letting Go. In The Knife of Never Letting Go, we follow a boy named Todd, and Todd lives in Prentice Town. And Prentice Town is unlike any other town because everyone can hear each other's thoughts. So, because of some reasons that I'm not going to say because of spoilers, Todd ends up having to flee the town, and he goes on this adventure type thing, running from people that want him back in the town for reasons that I'm not going to say. But this book is kind of just like a huge adventure, and this one has some action and adventure in it as well. So I gave this book an 83%, and again, it was a strong sequel, so I would recommend this trilogy. Next up this month, I read Run by Gabby Tai. This book was written by a 14-year-old Singaporean, and his book is also based in Singapore, so it was cool because I knew the general area of things. So this book follows a 15-year-old girl named Z, and Z wakes up somewhere in Singapore with no memory of anything, like completely no memory. And so because of this, she joins a group of young survivors like her, so kids all around her age, and they're trying to get by. And during this, she learns that scientists got it wrong. They were doing some work in the genetic field and completely screwed everything up. So there are no living animals anymore. The only thing alive left are humans. The group of kids have to try and scavenge food and water to stay alive, but soon another problem comes to hand. They encounter adults that are basically cannibals, so they have to try and run from them as well. And there's some other stuff going on, like she has this power to kind of like read into the future a bit, just to like in battle she would like read into the future and she could see what the next move that her opponent was going to make. So it was interesting. It was an interesting concept for a book. Like I found like something like that could eventually happen, but I had a bit of a problem with the writing style, and I found this book to be pretty rushed. Like I think there needed to be more development in the story and stuff like that, so I gave it a 72%. I whipped through it in a day, but it wasn't all that great. So the fourth and fifth books that I read in the month of May were these 2 graphic novels, Mouse. So the first one is My Father Bleeds History, and the second one is And Here My Troubles Began. So these 2 books, or graphic novels, are about the Second World War with the Nazis and the Jews, that kind of thing. And I found this pretty interesting because, let me find a good picture, but the Jews are drawn as people with mice heads, and then the Germans are drawn with people as with cat heads. So I don't know, the graphics are pretty cool if you can see there. Let me find another cool one. Let's see. Like the graphics are good. So it's a bit hard on your eyes sometimes because it's just black and white, there's no color. But I did enjoy them. It was an interesting story. So I gave the first one a 78%, and then I gave the second one a 75%. So this one wasn't quite as good, but they were still pretty good. Like if you're into graphic novels or historical fiction, this isn't really fiction though. If you're into like historical stuff or graphic novels basically, I would suggest picking these up. They're a good read. So the sixth book that I read in the month of May was The Winner's Curse by Marie Rotowski. I believe that's how you pronounce your last name anyways. I don't know. I really enjoyed this book. I was really pleased with it. This book is about a 17-year-old general's daughter named Kestrel, and Kestrel, in the beginning of the book, ends up at a slave auction by accident. On a whim, she buys a slave, thinking that he's different. And yes, indeed he is. He is rebellious and talks back, and he's actually quite intelligent. She gives Kestrel a run at her money playing card games, and i.e. by instinct. But it was described as a romance. I'm not quite sure if that's how I would describe it. It kind of has like a fantasy-esque feel, but there's no magic. But the world kind of feels fantasy-ish, but then it also feels like there is romance in it, but it's not solely based around the romance. You have like a rebellion going on in the background, you have lies and rumors and secrets and all of that good stuff, so it was quite a good book, and I was super happy with the characters, because usually I find in YA we usually get characters that are not the most intelligent. I was really glad that our two main characters, Kestrel and Aaron, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, were super smart. I really enjoyed that. They were different from your typical main characters, and I was so glad, because I was kind of getting sick and tired of your typical YA heroine that's like headstrong and just isn't that intelligent. They make kind of decisions that I'm like, okay, that's not the smartest decision. Because, you know, you have, like, your main characters, like Triss or Katniss, and, like, sure, they're smart-ish, but then, you know, like, Triss makes all these, like, really bad decisions in Insurgent, but this book, just, if you're sick and tired of those, your typical YA heroine, please pick this up. It's really good. So this book was also beautifully written. It was really a nice touch to the book. Let me see if I can find let's see, I underlined some passages in here, so let me see if I can find one. Aha, so, okay. Jess had wandered off to look at the wares. Kestrel last saw her weaving like a flower-drunk bee through the stalls, her pale blonde hair almost white in the summer sun. So that was beautiful, and there's one other one. Here it is. Everyone thronged around the pit was looking at her. The general's daughter, a high society bird, had flitted from one respectable house to the next. I really liked all the prose in this book and the descriptions. I thought they were quite beautiful, and that was just a bonus. And like I don't know if I said this before, but I gave it an 86%, so I really did enjoy it. The next book that I read in the month of May was The Storm by Virginia Bergen. This is the second and I believe last book in this duology. I think it's a duology, I'm pretty sure because it seemed like it finished up. But The Rain, the first book, is about an apocalypse that takes place, and basically the rain contains this space germ that basically eats away at your skin and kills you. And it's basically about our main character, Ruby, trying to survive in a world where you cannot drink or touch the rain whatsoever, otherwise you die. So it was, I think I enjoyed the first book. I'm obviously, like, I picked up the second book because I thought I enjoyed it. But this book, it was okay for me. I gave it a 74%. Like, I was just kind of like getting through it. Like, I bought it and I thought I was going to enjoy it, but it was okay. It was meh. I don't know. I just found I was kind of dragging myself through it. I thought stuff could have been cut out. You could have added a bit more action. And then the ending was really confusing. It didn't make that much sense. I didn't understand it at all. I don't think the main character understood either. So I would have liked more explanation on that, and it ended pretty quickly. So overall, it was just meh. And after I picked up The Storm, I bought the entire Heroes of Olympus series. So I read the first two books, The Lost Hero and the son of Neptune, and I am really enjoying this so far. I'm on the Mark of Athena currently, and I'm just I'm really glad to be back in this world, the world that Rick Riordan has created, and I love it. I love the new characters. It's so good. So I gave both these books 86%. Yeah, 86%. So I did quite enjoy them. And if you read the Percy Jackson series, I'd totally pick these up. If you haven't read the Percy Jackson series, where have you been all your life, please pick them up, read them, and then read these because I am really enjoying them so far. But anyways, if you don't know what these are about, the Percy Jackson series follows a demigod named Percy Jackson. It's a bunch of Greek mythology, but it's like sprinkled in so that you're learning you're learning about Greek mythology while you're reading the book. And there's quests and adventure and awesomeness, and it's just so good. So please read it if you haven't already. I mean, like, it's been out for 10 years, so I think probably a lot of you who are watching this have read it. But if you haven't, you should really get on that. So those were all the books that I read in the month of May. I have book reviews for a lot of them. I'll link them down below, but I have one for The Lost Hero. I have one for The Son of Neptune coming soon on this channel. I have one for The Winter's Curse. I have one for Run. I have one for the Firefight and one for The Ask and the Answer. So I will link those down below if you want to check them out. But without further ado, let's get into my TBR. So I'm not going to be doing TBRs every month just because I don't have a huge TBR pile like most people. I usually don't have that many books to read. Like, I read books really quickly, plus where I live, super expensive. Books range from $13 to $30, so I don't always have a ton of money to go on book buying sprees, and we don't really have used bookstores anywhere, so it's really hard for me to find cheap books. Like in America, you can go on like different websites and there's different used bookstores you can go to. Same with Canada, but here, not at all. So I don't have huge TBR piles, but this month I do have a few books that I plan to read. So this month I plan to finish the Mark of Athena. I am on page 397. So I'm going to finish this today actually, so I want to get this done. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish The House of Hades, and then The Blood of Olympus, all by Rick Riordan. So I'm super excited to finish the series because finally I can go on the internet without trying to avoid spoilers. So, and I'm really enjoying it, like I said before. So I'm super excited to finish the series. Oh, and I will also be having book reviews on, like I said, The Son of Neptune, also The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, and The Blood of Olympus. So those will be on my channel up sometime soon. I'll hope to get The Son of Neptune up this week or the next week, and then on from there, Mark of Athena and the rest of the books. So yeah, look out for that. So after I finish the Heroes of Olympus series, I plan on picking up The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I don't know too much about this book. I know that it's a fantasy and that there's magic in it, but other than that, I don't know too much about it. Like, I know I've heard really good things from people about this book. So hopefully it's good. I want to enjoy it. Then when I finish The Name of the Wind, since I have no other books that I really want to read, I have one book that I'm just not enjoying, another one that I don't have the first book to, so I'm going to pick up Paper Towns by John Green. I'm going to reread this unless I get other books. But the movie's coming out soon, so I should give it a reread. I think I read it last year for the first time. So I'm glad to be picking it up because I remember I really enjoyed it. This is my second favorite John Green book, the first being The Fault in Our Stars, probably like most people, but I really did enjoy this book. So that was it for my June TBR. I'll probably have to go out and get more books because 5 books does not last me, or will not last me, a month. So I will most likely be reading other books, and you'll see that in reviews and my June wrap-up. So yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite book of May was and what books you plan to read in June. I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!